Hi, this is Dottie at the Tollway, and I'm going to talk about covering up your back image. This print has a lovely guy playing the saxophone, and because I'm worried about double imaging here, and I didn't want to paint this out, what I've done is taken a piece out of another print that basically goes like this, and it comes over all the way to here and down the side. And then what I've done is applied silicone glue to the back of that piece so that it will stick. And then on this side I have a piece that runs like this and all the way up. And my object is so when I replace my saxophone player here, it covers up a good portion of him on the background, so I have no double images. Now, because this guy is pretty big, and I really don't want to wire this whole thing, but I would like to make sure that his body doesn't cave in at some point. I have decided to help it along with this little handy piece, which is a half of a paper towel roller and a couple of pieces of foam core. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that right about here, and then when I put this guy down, you can see that his body is going to stay erect. It's not going to collapse back onto the original image. And where I have shaped his elbow already, it's basically going to stay like that. It's got a nice curve to it, and his head has a nice curve to it. I'm going to go back and wire underneath from the neck all the way up so that his hat will stay up. And I like that this part is curving down back toward my base print, so that makes it easy for me to cover up any double images there. And on this side, his elbow is doing the same. I will probably push this out a little bit and put a little piece of foam core underneath here to attach it so it doesn't curl all the way up, but so that it stays curled enough that it covers up the double image where his elbow is. So this way my guy looks good, and I have no double images on my background print because I've covered most of this up. Let me up this up a little bit. I have covered most of this up with the second piece that I siliconed on. You have to use silicone for this. If you're attaching pieces to the base print like this, if you use glue, it will wrinkle. Silicone is oil-based, so what I did is I put the silicone on with a credit card and fanned it out toward the edges to make sure that I got all the edges. Made sure that there was no big clumps of silicone anywhere. And then I have, when I put this down, I put it where I want it. And then I took a, let me show you. Then I took a piece of paper towel and laid over it, so if there was any silicone that oozed out, and then run over it with a brazier. And so what that does is it causes a good contact between the piece I'm putting on and the background print. And because I have the paper towel here, it will catch any of the silicone that oozes out the edges. So that way I don't have any silicone ooze, and I have good contact. And then I did basically the same thing with this piece. I took and ran over it with a brayer to make sure that it adhered well. And if you have any silicone that oozes out, if you run the paper towel up the edge, it will rub off. But don't, if you have any that oozes and you rub it, make sure you use another part of the paper towel to do anything else, because otherwise you'll just transfer the silicone onto your base print. Okay, so once again, because I don't want to wire this whole thing, because it's a really big piece and it would use a lot of wire, and wire is hard to come by, because we use fabric coated wire, and it's very hard to come by right now. So, but I will, on the background, I will take a piece of wire and run it all the way around this edge and into his collar. And then I may run a couple of pieces across, because I'm going to put his head on again. So if any wire is showing through on the front when it dries, my piece going on top will cover up any wire that creates a crease in the print. So I'm going to do this so that I can get his hat up, and then I can curve his head a little bit more. But once again, it's easy to raise something. I want his body to stay away from the background print. So my little fix here is just a little piece of, it's a little less than half of a paper towel roller and a couple of strips of foam core. And this is all secured with fast tack glue. You can use any white PVC glue, will work just fine. And these are all scraps of foam core that I've saved from other things. And then I'm going to push this down. You have to remember that at the bottom you have to leave a 1/4 of an inch, because this 1/4 of an inch will fit into the rabbet, which is the cutout section in the back of a frame that your print fits into. So I need to make sure I keep this at least a 1/4 of an inch away from the edge so that it doesn't interfere with my print going into my shadow box. So then I will glue this on with white glue, with fast tack glue, and then when I put this guy down, it works out pretty good. I don't have double imaging anywhere. I'm not seeing the print. I'm not seeing him on the base print. And the only thing I have to do is I'm going to have to make sure that when I put the rim of his saxophone down, that I put it so that it covers up the saxophone on the base print. And other than that, I don't really have any matching to do. It's pretty much all covered up. Okay, so that's how you can get rid of double imaging on prints. And this one kind of lent itself really well because it's pretty abstract background anyway. Okay, happy snipping.